everybody, welcome to Wingman's Hangar episode 54. This is a show about Chris Roberts' epic space adventure, Star Citizen, an inside look at Cloud Imperium games. Let's get right to it. What's going on this week? We've got a week in review. We've got forum feedback with your video questions. We've got Chris Roberts and another epic 10 for the chairman, and an interview with Dan Tracy about the mannequin animation system. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about new hires. We are growing like crazy. We had 3 people start this week: Billy Lord, Josie Green, and David Jennison. Now, you'll meet them coming up, I'm sure, at Cloud Imperium in the future. And you know what we haven't done in a while? Well, we've got the summit coming up next week. We've got about 30 Cloud Imperium employees from all over the world, from Manchester to Santa Monica to Montreal, all coming in for a summit next week. And what's that mean? Well, we've only been in this office in Austin for a couple weeks, and wires are hanging out, and things are going all over the place, so we are busy preparing to make sure that we can get everything done we need to. We do these about 3 or 4 times a year, where we get all the teams together, they get to meet each other, they get to be friends, and that way when we have these conversations, we're asking each other to do some work for some stuff that we deliver to you guys. Everybody kind of has an understanding of who they are, what their capabilities are, and they get to be more like friends rather than just, separate studios. So in that note, we haven't done this in a while, so let's take a little look around the office with our nose cam. We'll take a look at how we're preparing the studio for next week's summit. All right, here we go. Let's go check it out, people. That's right, the summit is coming. The summit is coming. Check it out. We're getting the artwork up on the walls. Look at that beauty. Here we go. One of the guys putting it up there. Check out the artwork. Looking good, looking good. Hey, Ted, what's up? Let's go take a look around. Hey, fellas, putting stuff up? Yeah. Looking good. Woohoo! Artwork over there. It's looking good. We're getting prepared for the summit with our chairman, CEO, and leader, Chris Roberts, in town. Let's speed it up! Boy, I don't think I've run that far forever. Anyway, coming back. Hey, Mike. That'll give you a little look at kind of some of the artwork and stuff we're hanging out there. And I probably haven't moved that fast in a long time in my life. So I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll take you a look around in the future, more along the lines of what's going on in Austin and, what the studio's looking like as it all comes together. We're still putting things like whiteboards and large schedule boards, just things on the wall that help us as we manage the process on a day-to-day basis. And as ever, you guys in the universe have been amazingly generous. Just take a look at this.
All right, I suspect Eric is keeping some of the fan gifts for himself. I'm going to take a look.
Oh, hey, what's up? We got some gifts. we got some cookies from Ranzine, and he or she says, I hope you enjoy these custom Star Citizen cookies. I'm already sort of enjoying that. You got Star Citizen. We got our ships here. I guess I'm gonna have to share these with the rest of the team now. Thank you, Michael. And then also we got some macaroons from Red Thomas. So thanks to Ranzir and Red Thomas. Well, I might have liked those cookies a bit. Those were thanks a lot to both those parties for sending in those cookies. They were wonderful, and I ended up having to share them, as obviously, But anyway, thank you guys very much. We just won an award. We won Massively Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Game Italia Reader's Choice Most Anticipated Sandbox. Michael put that little thing up on the inset and show you what it looks like. So good job, us. And when I mean us, I mean us, because we're all making this together, right? Ben Lisnick is moving to LA on the 31st. You'll get to see Ben on today's show, and it's kind of sad. It'll be the last time he's going to be on the show, and we'll miss him because he's a fantastic, fantastic guy, but he's going to keep running the community, and that's the most important thing we have going. We have people on the Next Great Starship out and shooting in LA. We got Chris Smith, Mark Skelton, Chris Olivier, Sandy, and Chris Roberts are all shooting the first episode of the Next Great Starship, and I'm sure they'll tell you a little bit more about that in the future. And speaking of Mark Skelton, well, it's time for this week's Hazy Thought.
So what would telepaths talk about? Huh.
Always good to see Mark. Hey everybody, how you guys doing?
Good, good. Fabulous.
Are you guys ready for, what time is it?
Feedback.
All right, there you go. It is time for Forum Feedback. A little different episode this week. We had so many really good videos, so we wanted to concentrate on getting those out to you guys, and we clipped a little bit of the other questions just to have the videos ready for you. So let's get right to it. From Marcus and Sarzu.
I have the answer on troubles. Look.
Nice picture of the Imperator.
Yes.
Is that real paper?
Indeed, prime condition paper. I bought them just when they were released, and there are collector's editions. 5 of these buys you a brand new Aurora, and I have 250. We can buy our own Idris Corvette with them.
Well, I know where our credits went a few months back.
And it's all worth it.
Well, you know, we've been in prison for a while, and I've been watching the news, what we missed. Ima showed the news archives of the paper crisis.
By your command.
Hello my fellow citizens, Dr. Hawk here with Star Citizen FM. Good news for all poster collectors in the verse. Today, Chris Roberts, the CEO of Roberts Space Industries himself, has stepped in to stop the paper crisis. He pledged his entire paper reserves and prices have dropped back to normal.
Yeah, only worth the 1/5 of the original price. Dear Wingman, will CIG control fluctuating prices? Will there be a maximum and minimum threshold on regards of cargo prices?
Those guys are always good. They are always good, but the question itself is really good. What do you guys think? Are they going to have? Are we going to be able to? Are we going to control the prices?
You're going to have to put some limitations on the prices, just because, I mean, you can't have the economy completely collapse, or, well, that will stall things in our universe. So, I mean, if you've read the economy document, it talks about that they will fluctuate, but there will be a range.
So, what do you think, Ben?
Well, I think the important thing is we're going to do it inside the universe. So it's the UE tariffs and the government propping up things. It's not us just deciding that suddenly you're all poor.
Yes, it's not us. It's the UEE. From Makesor, he says,
"Present arms. Order arms. Wingman, I'd like to report that we've seen some fantastic commercials of the highest caliber, featuring the latest and greatest of aerospace transportation. But my question to you today is, when will we see a recruitment campaign to convince young prospective cadets to enlist in our newly recruiting Squadron 42? Let's not just be strong, let's be United Empire-verse strong. Hoo-ah!"
Oh. That's a good idea. Maybe some thought about that.
Maybe. We haven't done that answer in a while. Maybe.
Just answer all of them this way.
Yeah, we should just answer everything maybe. From Mr. Everything, he says,
"Wingman, this is Mr. Everything from the 1st Royal Aerospace Squadron. When in a system or on a planet, will AI actually approach me to perform missions for them, or, you know, like carrying passengers or cargo? Or will it be solely upon me to reach out and talk to other players or the AI?"
That's a cool question. That's probably one of my favorite questions we've ever seen. So when I land on the planet, I mean, how's that going to work? Am I going to have to go to a thing and get a mission, or is somebody going to go, "Psst, hey, bud"?
That is definitely a goal, to have the AI be that involved, and you know, so come after you and seek out certain people with good reputations, for instance, and say, "Hey, I've heard of you. Would you like to do this for me?" You know, some things we take longer to get into the game than others, but it's definitely on the list.
I don't know about you guys, but I can't walk down the street without a couple people offering me jobs.
A couple missions. Mr. Midlistic, here's a mission. Should you choose to accept it? No, that's cool. I mean, that would actually be really cool. That's going to be, you know, that's one of those things that's probably over the years it's going to just get better and better. It's one of those systems that we'll create and have to constantly be upgrading, and you know, obviously with your feedback. From Sarah Whiskey Carter.
Owner's remote access successful. Venting atmosphere.
Thank you for choosing Roberts Space Industries. And remember, no stealing. Warning. Oxygen levels critical. Oxygen levels critical.
That's an interesting question, but it would sort of tend to sway things towards one type of gameplay and remove other types. And
yeah,
how's that work?
We don't want to nerf the pirates, really. I mean, there may be able to be some very limited ways of doing that. For instance, if it's still in your hangar and someone's trying to steal your ship, or we ever let that happen, then you could probably, dead man switch it or whatever.
Right.
But I don't like self-destruction either, just because, what about insurance?
Yeah, well, that would certainly be an exploit there, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Whoa, this is one of our main contributors. I think he sent in 7 videos 1 week or 6. Gray Lobo, take it away.
Hey, Wingman, quick question about engine noise. Is it going to be final when it comes out in alpha, or is it tentative like everything else? And the noises may very well change with the game.
Cool. Good job, Lobo. Well,
listen to that baby purr.
Yeah, listen to that baby purr. So, but come on. I mean, will the engine noises be final, or are they going to be alpha?
Everything's alpha until it's done. We are constantly improving the game. If Martin Galway comes up with a better way for the engines to sound in 6 months, we're going to go with it. So
that's
ever finished.
Yeah, that's an interesting point too, because that means that we could change the noises or sounds 5 years from now if we got something better or something comes out. So yeah, it'll always be upgraded.
Ever evolving, right?
Yeah, ever evolving. Oh, guess who we have a video from now? It's been a while. Lagante.
Hey Wingman, Lagante here. I had a question concerning the forbidden I word. Immersion. Some people enjoy in-game holiday events. Now, typically, some of these events might roughly be kind of based on real-world events, and
I love holidays. There's Bubble Bath Day, Houseplant Appreciation Day, Everything You Think Is Wrong Day, Make Up Your Own Holiday Day, I Am in Control Day.
Get off my channel, Disco Lando. Anyway, on the other hand, some people might have an issue with that because they do not want real-world events coming over into in-game because, that might be an immersion killer for them. How will this be handled? This is Lagante, signing out.
All right, holiday events, fellas. What do you think?
I see Lagante has to worry about Lando showing up too.
Yeah, we might see a little of Lando at the end of the show, just saying. So what do you got from Lagante? What do you think? Real-world holiday events?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in fact, we already had with the hangar module. We had some holiday lights over Christmas.
Some wreaths?
That was what it was. Wreaths.
Did they get the Christmas fish? Oh, that's next
Christmas.
Redacted.
Yeah, we will see real-world holidays that make sense. I mean, obviously, not July 4th, because that's not something to celebrate in the UEE.
or the UK.
Yeah, worldwide stuff. Absolutely will be in the future. And we'll see new holidays, like UEE Formation Day and celebrations of all sorts of things.
Exactly. I mean, you've read some of the great fiction that Dave Haddock has created, and there'll be some main tentpole events that have happened in the lead up to the Star Citizen universe, and so there'll be some holidays picked out of that we'll be celebrating ourselves as we go forward. So we're not worried about it breaking immersion because we're going to make sure that it's part of immersion. Good video, though, and thank you, as always, Lagante. From Dragonfire Malice.
Wing. Hey. I was just out partying with some friends of mine, and it got me wondering. There's been some discussion about food and drink in Star Citizen, and I was wondering, will food and drink affect our characters? For instance, if we drink too much, will we get really drunk? Or even if we eat a whole bunch, will our characters get really, really fat and then be unable to fit through the ship's hatch?
Does food and drink affect our... it affects our making the game performance, but we're not...
It improves our making.
Oh, sorry, Ben, you're correct. So does food and drink affect our flying performance? Rob, are we gonna get that far?
Man, everybody was so enamored of the drunk mission in Wing Commander. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's true. But
it was actually awful to play.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, we're not really making it to where.
there are limits to how immersive you want things to be, and that's just tedious.
Right, we're not going to have like the little syringe pop out from under the keyboard and pop you in the like right down the cuticle or something. So
if you want to be fat and drunk while playing Star Citizen, you have to do it the old-fashioned way.
You have to earn it.
Awesome.
Well done, Ben. Well done. Oh, and now, speaking of that, Ben, it's time for this week's Most Valuable Post.
Hey everyone, welcome to MVP, Most Valuable Post. I'm Community Manager Ben Lesnick, and I'm here to tell you what the best post at the RSI forums was this week. This time around, we have our first ever double MVP. We recently gave the award to Phelan, and he is getting it again for his fantastic web magazine, Pulse, which he's put together with a team of Star Citizen backers. We're going to give every one of them MVP. And it's just great. It's like Jump Point, but a fanzine. It has information about the game, answers users' questions. It's a great way to get into the game. That they're really helping us show this thing off, and we really appreciate it. And that's not all. I have a second MVP. We want to give a very special award to Groundhound, who is a chat roll user, I suppose now an XMPP chat user, who has just been amazingly helpful with everybody who comes into the chat. And people come in and like, I don't know what Star Citizen is. How do you get involved in this? And he's there to help with everybody's questions. He's incredible, and we really appreciate the time and effort and care he puts into helping build this community. So Groundhound, you are also MVP. Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, Ben. And now it's time for Chris Roberts in 10 for the chairman.
Hello everyone, this is 10 for the chairman. For those of you who haven't seen this show yet, this is where I take 10 questions from the subscribers and answer them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and answer the first question from Amra Khan. And Amra Khan asks, with the new YouTube copyright issued with companies redacting videos or claiming them as their own, will you allow videos of Star Citizen? So the simple answer is yes. I mean, we're actually quite excited when everyone's sharing videos of Star Citizen. It was really cool to watch everyone show off their hangar and how the different ships looked and kind of the fun and shenanigans they got up to. So we're sort of in favor of you guys sharing gameplay, hangar videos, whatever it would be as far as that. So we'll be trying our best to not tell YouTube to block the content. Okay, next question is from Professor. Who asked, will the insurance premium go up the more you lose your ship? So that's a pretty good question. We haven't fully balanced that sort of stuff yet. We've had discussions about, obviously, if someone's constantly losing their ship or doing dumb things like ramming into other people, then there should be a penalty because that would happen in the real world. And you don't want to encourage bad behavior. You just don't want to punish someone for being unlucky and having to get attacked by, whether it's NPCs or players, it's still you've lost your ship, right? So we still have to balance that, but I would say that the general idea is if there is sort of like a sniff of something like insurance fraud or sort of bad behavior, then maybe the insurance premium would go up to sort of dissuade you from like doing things like using your ship as a ramming, as a weapon in dogfighting. But not fully decided. That will be a balance thing that we'll tune as we go along. Okay, the next question is from Mei Lin, who asks, how will we be able to disengage from combat? Will it always require us to have a faster ship than our adversaries, or will there be other ways to evade them? Again, that's another good question, and that's a balance thing. So haven't 100% figured out, would it always just be about outrunning, or would there be other ways? I mean, we're certainly going to allow you to control sort of your radar image, in terms of like how hot or quiet you are, basically. And so there potentially could be, depending on the situation and the environment, there definitely could be places where you could essentially say hide behind an asteroid field and really turn all your systems off, and then you'd have almost no radar profile, and then you would sort of go off people's scopes, and then they could potentially pass along. So that would be one way to get out of it. And then of course, if you had a faster ship, then potentially you could get away too. And we're kind of thinking of some dynamics that would sort of fall into the whole sort of rationale behind when we cap the velocity at the low speeds, but we still allow you to reach much higher speeds, obviously, when you're traveling between, say, nav points in space, because in those cases you're just accelerating in a straight line and not. So I haven't fully figured all that out, but we're going to try and come up with some good ways, but also have it a way so you can't always run away from combat, because that wouldn't be that much fun for a bunch of other people. So again, a balance thing. Okay, next question is from Big Bad Abum. Bigger Bad Dom. Bigger Bad Bum. Next question is from Big Bad Abum. And Big Bad Abum asks, how will in-game ship buying and selling work in Star Citizen? In the good old Wing Commander Privateer game, I had to search the verse for different traders and compare the available offers. I could imagine in Star Citizen that it would be the same, but with more details like negotiate prices, options, organize transports, etc. So definitely in Star Citizen, I kind of want the sort of buying and selling to be immersive. So you walk into a showroom and there's actually an NPC sales guy there, and he's telling you why you should really be stepping up to this particular model, 300i spaceship, and sort of make it feel like you would be buying something in the real world. On top of that, so there'll be some, we'll have some idea for negotiating prices, make it fun. And also I kind of want to make the gameplay be very focused around forcing you as a player to adventure around the universe. So for instance, you shouldn't be able to go to every planet and buy exactly the same ships on every planet. So I want you to be able to go from one corner of the galaxy, because this is the place they make the best dogfighter, and the other side of the galaxy is the place they make the best information runner. And so you sort of go around and adventure around to buy different equipment and different ships. So you make the trek to go to this one corner in the universe where the guy is the best gunsmith ever, and he can increase the range of your long-range ballistic weapon by 20%. And so the idea would be you would sort of fly around the galaxy and cover obviously a lot of light years, trying to make sure that you've got the best weapon or the ship you want and all the rest of the stuff. So I think it'll be more so than Privateer, more so than Freelancer. I think it'll work quite well. Okay, next question is from Malcolm Kodiak Knight, who asks, have you given any thoughts to how in-depth the banking account system in the persistent universe will be, and how will it be tied to the org system? So we're still on the early stages of sort of the whole banking account system, but one of the points of the organization is to allow an organization, a group of people, to be able to sort of manage joint finances. So you'll be able to charge the members of your guild or organization membership fees. You'll be able to have a pooled account that you could buy things or buy real estate or do stuff that would be able to shared by the organization and owned by the organization. So I would think that we would try to probably push the banking account system to be fairly sophisticated, not too different than what you get in the real world. I don't know if we're going to have a stock market to the extent that you would potentially have a stock market here in the real world, but we would probably have something that would be fairly similar as well. Okay, next question comes from Daduk Fish, who asks, will there be a way to improve efficiencies with equipment, jobs, tasks, and general actions within the game? In essence, will there be a leveling up system where we can improve our ability to mine resources, haggle prices, fast travel, detect other ships, etc. through man hours, in brackets experience, to unlock new equipment areas and quest submissions? So it's kind of a two-part answer, because this is not a traditional MMO. There is no leveling. It's not like you start at level 1 and you'll work your way up to level 20. So a lot of it is to do with your own skill set, but then again, the equipment and things that you've got help you in doing these jobs and tasks. So I think doing things like being a better miner will involve going and mining, doing it, sort of learning the skill, so to speak, yourself, actually doing it, not learning it as in I've gone from level 1 miner to level 5 miner, and having the right equipment. So you'll have to buy the equipment, upgrade your equipment, maybe go to some specialty place that does really 10% better equipment, 20% better equipment. So it's a combination of your actual player skills, you as a person, and then also the equipment you're using will sort of be our version of leveling up. There'll be some stuff where, like, perhaps you wouldn't be able to operate certain items or equipment without the right license, and you'd have to maybe do some kind of like a driving test, right? So like in today's world, you can't just drive an 18-wheeler truck, you have to have a license to do that. So we may have something like that. But in general, the leveling and tasks will be sort of a more real world based, i.e. based on your skill and the equipment you're using, not based on an arbitrary sort of role-playing level. So I hope that makes sense. So next question is from Supraluminal, and Supraluminal asks, what happens if I fail during the first transit of a jump point? Seems like a quick way to an empty casket. Well, if you were charting the jump point for the very first time, having to fly it yourself, then yes, if you mess up during the charting, it potentially could kill you, or you could be spat out in some random system and you not know how to get home. But generally, if it's already been charted and your nav computer has the jump trajectory and coordinates already programmed in, then you'll automatically make it and you'll be fine. So really the risk in jump points are for the uncharted jump points that you don't have a nav path already set. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Next question is from Krell, who asks, are asteroids and other space objects built in a modular fashion like the ships? It seems like you could design a few different building blocks for constructing asteroids and then randomly assemble them in lots of different ways. So that is a good question. We definitely have quite a few different asteroids, but we're actually doing R&D right now into a bunch of procedural generation of asteroids and asteroid fields. So, I know there's been a lot of talk about procedural stuff and sort of crafted stuff, which Star Citizen is sort of more of a crafted experience. But we certainly are using elements of procedural generation to help us flesh out a lot of the world. So my goal is to make sure that everything sort of feels designed and crafted, but you use elements of procedural generation to sort of give you the variation that you need. So asteroids are a great example of that, where we have certain rules for asteroids, but we may procedurally be generating the asteroid field or the asteroids themselves. And so we're actually doing some pretty cool and interesting work on it, and down the road we'll probably be sharing that with you guys. The last question, for the chairman, this episode comes from Christopher Malik, who asks, whatever happened to the star map? I remember a while back in an in-game 3D star map in the works. From the old videos, it looked pretty much done. Any word on when we will see that from the community? So good question. The star map, that was sort of an early prototype that we'd mocked up inside the engine. It's not something that I'm ready to share yet. First of all, we've got a bunch more stuff to do with it in terms of fleshing out all our systems and making sure that we're happy with them, but also just in terms of the interface and how it works. So we're actually doing a lot of work right now on sort of what we call our Holo renderer, which is the system that's going to be rendering sort of 3D holographic objects as well as data and text on it, and that's going to underform the pinning of pretty much all of our systems. So that would be the Moby glass that you have as you run around that you've seen in the fiction, sort of your first-person HUD if you've got a combat suit on, your ship HUD, which is when you're flying a ship, and we kind of want it all to sort of have this sort of whether it's an Iron Man feel or a Minority Report feel, or like you've seen in Prometheus, the Holo stuff. But the idea is there's a lot of sort of floating objects that you can manipulate and move around, and obviously the Holo table, the equipment device in the hangar was the very, very preliminary sort of working prototype of using some of this stuff, but we're doing stuff that's well beyond that, that's going to be much cooler, that we haven't shown you guys yet. And that will also be something that will drive the star map and your 3D maps and when you're inside your ships and stuff like that. So it'll be a while before we show it to you, but when you see it, I think you'll be pretty happy. It's going to be pretty cool. Okay, all right, so I hope you guys liked my answers. Thank you very much for writing in the questions. Thank you always for supporting the game project, anyway, it's a lot of fun. It's great to be back here in 2014 and raring to do some awesome stuff this year. So talk to you next week.
Wow, man. It's always good to see Chris's come in and answer fans' questions right away.
Absolutely.
Directly. So, everybody, Dan Tracy, you guys might remember him from Where were we at? The Salt Lake Barbecue.
Salt Lake, dude. Yeah.
That was
Meat
good
sweats.
barbecue. We had the
still
meat.
feeling it.
Well, we'll get you, now that you're here in Austin visiting this week, we'll get you down to, there's a nice barbecue place right in the corner that competes with
Absolutely.
that, so we'll check that out before you go.
Awesome. That
So,
sounds great.
speaking of that, you're now based in the LA office, and
Yep.
you're working directly under Chris. And
Absolutely.
You guys are mainly doing the dog fighting right
Mhm,
now, but what are you here in Austin doing this week?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's think back.
I actually thought of that myself. So what are you here doing?
It's actually doing some training with Mannequin. What Mannequin is all about is the engine side of things, where it's actually controlling the actual character. So it's like basically your marionette on the string, kind of what Mannequin's all about. So it's actually driving all the animation that Brian Brewer's and his team's actually been putting together, and how we're putting that all in game right now. So what I'm actually doing is also helping out all the tie-ins from sound, from design, for them to also get up to snap with Mannequin as well, because Mannequin doesn't drive just the characters. It's actually driving also all of our vehicles, all of our weapon animations as well, like the spin up of the Gatling gun that you guys are seeing with the weapon mount. All that is all tied into Mannequin. So all that goes through that whole pipeline of what the engine needs to read in order to see, you know, hey, what animations am I calling now at this particular time during the animation? What sounds do I play? What kind of scripting events all happens with that? And it's just a huge, huge spider web. So, of course, like, I needed to come out here and help you guys out with that, because a lot of guys got like bits and pieces of it. So I just wanted to clear up any sort of issues that we're having with the engine. And so as we roll this stuff out, we're getting the weapon mount fixed up with everything that we need, and ship it off to you guys so that you guys can actually play with it in the firing range.
That's right. The firing range is undergoing quite a few changes, which we're not going to tell them about yet. We're just going to have to wait. It's coming up soon. But that's yours too, by the way. The original firing range was just something we put together, or you put together to allow us to test the weapons and stuff.
For sure. From my point of view, like, I needed something that like was not a fully functional ship. I needed something that I just could easily attach a weapon to, have well, for my testing purposes, and then any of the other designers to actually have like maximum capability. So we kind of did like some back end cheats. We're not giving you guys that to be able to set up any of the weapons so that we can use it for the Hornet destruction, which is the stuff that we're working on right now, for a dogfight, which we showed off a little bit just before the Christmas holiday, and everything else with the weapon involvements. And this filters down now out, and I thought this would be an excellent tool for everybody to use, such as sound, you know, animation to look at the weapons, and how you can actually like view it from all the different angles, and then even for even art to actually look at how all this stuff is actually going to be mounted onto different parts of the ships. So we can actually just use like a standalone right now for how this thing's actually going to be utilized and made on each one of the ships.
How the hard points fit together, how it holds
exactly.
in there, all that kind of stuff.
And I saw too that you guys actually use this also for the Next Great Starship
there you go.
integrations, and that was actually pretty awesome. I was
go.
really happy to see. So I got a chance to see like a sneak peek at some of that stuff, and wow, I'm pretty amazed at like all the stuff that's coming down the pipe with that.
Well, I want to thank you, Dan, for showing up and being here and being part of our team, because you're a huge help here, and the fans really appreciate the stuff you've done. They get to see it, and it's kind of cool they see it early, but apparently you've got a plane to catch.
Yep, I got to get out of here.
All right, so poof. Well, the beauty of editing. So Dan had to leave, as we know, and Mike's here, and we wanted to talk a little bit, Mike, about the summit next week. You've got a big task ahead, or a big chore. What's up?
Well, besides everybody flying into town, I'm also going to be doing some videos, especially for the thing, some inside CIG segments and everything about the process of coming to decisions and deciding the process of the game.
Right, so you'll be releasing a few of those over the week, so we can bring people into what's going on with the game and with the people that are making the game, and you'll be updating us as we go next week.
Yeah, we're gonna have some intimate interviews with Chris and probably you and a couple of other people. Just kind of
got to get Aaron in there too. Yeah,
absolutely. It'd be lovely to have Aaron on camera, so we're looking forward to that.
Sweet. So usually we don't get to see you on this side of the camera, but it's always fun to sneak you over. I mean, without this guy, obviously isn't this show here. So I want to thank Chris for his 10 for the chairman, as ever. Those things are riveting. And thank you very much, subscribers and pledgers. Without you guys, there is no us, and we couldn't bring this show to you, and we couldn't give you updates, and there'd be no Star Citizen. And subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to know what's going on a day-to-day basis or whenever videos are released, which is what Mike's doing for us. You'd get updated when it's released immediately. That you would join our YouTube channel, and boom, you get an email saying, hey, check it out. You get the latest and greatest. Submit your questions on the RSI forum, and don't forget Wingman's Hangover, which is about 15 minutes after the show, where we kind of have an informal talk on chat roll, which, you know, the new organizations thing to talk about. Lots to talk about this week. And I know it's less formal, shockingly, than what we're doing here. I know, hard to say.
Pretty lowbrow entertainment.
Yeah, that's entertainment's a big word for what's going on there. So anyway, remember, come on in, and remember, if you want your stuff featured on Wingman's Hangar, send it in. We just might use it. Where are we going to see him? In the verse.
It's for real.